This is Player 1,
This is Player 2.
and you're listening to another great show only on the Four-Eyed Radio Network.
The Third.
For more great shows, check out www.foureyedradio.com.
Hi, this is Kyle from Arcade Bros. If you're like me, you like a little joy in your life. We're proud to present that we are sponsored by America Joy Print Shop. If you need cut vinyl, store lettering, business printing, forms, card magnets, and anything else printing needs, America Joy is the one for you. When you contact America Joy, just tell them the Fern sent you. You're listening to an all-new podcast of Long Boxcast. My name is Kyle, and I'm here with my sidekick.
I am no one's sidekick. They tried to make me a sidekick, but I kicked them in the side.
With a kick.
Yes!
And your name?
Adam.
No, your real name, goddammit!
My real name is Dr. Bojangles.
Well, Dr. Bojangles, welcome to the show.
Okay. I'm Steve. Stop calling me your sidekick, bitch. I ain't your sidekick. I ain't nobody's sidekick.
I'm going to let you drive the car.
Dick. Grayson.
You're listening to the Long Boxcast, part of the Four-Eyed Radio Network, The Fern. You can find out more information by visiting foureyedradio.com. You can listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Zune Marketplace, BlackBerry Podcast, Miro Guide, Mixcloud, Double Twist, Spreaker, and whatever else Eric's working on, simply by typing in Long Boxcast and enjoy. This podcast is also brought to you by America Joy Print Shop, our official sponsor of the Four-Eyed Radio Network. You can go there for all your business card, flyers, posters, banners, cut vinyl, car wraps, and more. Visit americajoy.com for more information and just tell them the Fern sent you. And if you're looking for to be charitable, you can go to criticalcarecomics.org, donate some comic books for the children. It helps them go to all the hospitals in the area, and it makes you feel good. And you can also use it as a tax write-off. People forget that. Taxes are due soon. So
Also, I will say this. If you plan on getting your special somebody something for the holiday that's tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow?
Well,
oh, yeah, we'll be coming out, yeah.
Yeah, one on Thursday.
Yeah, for that special
For
someone.
that special someone, you can go to Amazon.com. You don't go to Amazon, though. Go to the Sasquatch.net and click on the Amazon banner and go ahead and shop on some good old, comic books, man. Get some...
Love comic books. There's a whole Mary Jane saga that is excellent because it's all about the love of him. There's Hush, which features the love of Batman and Catwoman, and also the love of Superman and Lois Lane.
No!
And even the love of a dog. Their dog Crypto, who helps out.
No one cares about Crypto.
Only Superman.
No, not even him. He wrote him off days ago.
I'm out of here. It sucked when he had to neuter him, though.
Or you can get the Mad
Crypto
Love.
balls!
So, Kyle, what are our shout-outs this week?
We got some shout-outs. We got Facebook shout-outs for Calypso Inconsequential, Eric Dewey and Aaron Mooney, and of course everybody who gave us B-Day thanks and wishes. Thanks for you for posting that this week.
I always do that.
Tweets we had at H2Awesome, at Darth Parallax, at Briscoe Drew, at Jedi Smith Sith Ewok, which is our podcast, at James D. Litch, and then also Do You Even Brony Bro, which is also a new podcast by the Four-Eyed Radio Network.
Yes, it is.
So sponsored by Steve, directed by Steve, and starring dogs and sometimes cats. Also, this episode is brought to you by Toby, who loves to yawn and rub his face on the computer. Thanks, Toby.
So, Kyle, what have you been reading this week?
This week, I actually picked up a couple comics called Fables, and this is actually Wolf Among Us, the game that came out.
What?
It's based on a comic book that is by
that.
Vertigo, which is out on DC, and you can pick them up in graphic novels. It's really cool. It's definitely a different translation. The game is definitely a lot different than what the comics are, but the comics are very much more streamlined. Where the comic is based around a character named Bigby for Big Bad Wolf, and basically he's like investigating all these things that are going on. He's basically become like the new, like a sheriff almost, in like this like 1980s. 90s.
I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down.
Pretty much, but it looks.
I'm voiced by Edwin.
But it's pretty good though the way they do it. Like there's all this like twists and turns in the comic, and I think the game's kind of playing off of that as well. So episode 2's out of that as well. If you guys haven't downloaded it, you can buy a season pass for $14.99 for the Wolves Among
which
Us.
I'm thinking about probably doing. I want to get because the second one just came out. I haven't played the first one. Everyone's like, you gotta play it right now. Which we should be talking about on Arcade Bros, but we're not.
But I figured I brought it in because Fables is based on a comic. So there you go. So that's why I got Steve. What about you?
I haven't read any comics this week
Steve.
because I jumped into a bunch of the DC movies. The newest movie that just came out is Justice League War.
What is a good vote?
Absolutely awesome. This one is actually really kind of cool because you get to see all the characters pretty much. This is based off of the new 52s.
They kind of coming together for
and
the
they
first
all
time.
kind of come together the first time. And now all the voice acting that they picked for was fantastic. Green Lantern is hilarious in this. I really thought that somebody else was going to be the comic relief, but it was the Green Lantern in this, which was freaking hilarious.
Which makes sense, I guess, because of Hal Jordan. They're playing off of that whole like rogue, like kind of
so he's doing kind of stuff, and then it talks about like Batman being in this and all this kind of different stuff. But then you see the Flash. It's Barry Allen's Flash. Nice. Wonder Woman's very funny actually in it too, because she'll be like whipping out her sword and she's like, "Give me ice cream," and then she eats it. She's like, "This is the greatest thing, huzzah!" And stuff.
All right,
like,
she's not from this.
Yeah,
world.
just like all their humor in it. Superman, I like, is really kind of cocky in it too, because like literally all this stuff starts happening, and then all of Darkseid's like minions start showing up and start. They're basically terraforming the planet in this saga, so the heroes band together pretty much for this common foe. But when Darkseid shows up, Superman's like, he doesn't look that tough, and it's just amazing. Like you get to see them just kind of battle off. You get to see actually like Green Lantern and Superman go at it. For a bit. Batman.
Oh, right, because isn't it like with the technology, they're not sure like
they're not sure
who
it is. So like they go to Metropolis. Batman was trying to talk to Superman about it, but then it was great because then they start like fighting and like Batman's not like doing any damage to Superman, but he's not getting hit at all. Like he's dodging all of his moves and some of that.
He's moving out of the way. Or...
It's just really well done. It's just a fun movie. Like I'll have to let you borrow it because it's just fantastically done. And then I also watch.
And I think I like it too because this is the first time we see Darkseid as like a giant. Like,
he's
not
huge.
He's not just like a little bit bigger than Superman.
No, he is
like,
huge in this and stuff. And then he's got like all the boom tubes are opening up and all this other stuff. I mean, it's just amazingly done. And then you get to see like all of them kind of like go to like because basically
you kind of see them almost like trying to do it themselves.
Yes,
and then you see them like realizing like, well, wait a minute.
It's got the origin of Cyborg and like his stuff and things
which
like that.
Which is good because I don't think a lot of people know about him.
Yeah,
they
I didn't know
the
about
character, but they don't know like.
I didn't know a lot about him too. And then also Shazam's in it as well. So
I heard, he's pretty good because I remember I saw a clip of him where he said something to Darkseid like. About like his World of Warcraft name.
Yes,
or something
that's
like
the greatest thing. He's like, I am Darkseid or whatnot. And he shows up, or what does he say? He goes, I am the Destroyer, I am Death, I am Darkseid. And then all of a sudden, like he's sitting there, Green Lantern goes to take a swing at him, like he just literally punches Darkseid in his ring, like that he has, like whatever he made, just like breaks apart, like. And then Darkseid actually breaks his arm. And then you see like Shazam jumps up, which is weird. They're calling him Shazam in this now. It's not Captain Marvel anymore.
Right. Well, I guess that's just because that's what everyone else calls him too. A lot of that was the problem we had. Like you always get into these debates with people like, no, his name's Mr. Captain Marvel or Magic Marvel or blah, blah, and it's just like, okay, well he says Shazam like every 2 fucking seconds.
Yeah.
And that's what everyone's gonna call him. So like that's what it is. Like,
but
you
it's
have to
it's just funny
it
because then he comes up, he's all like, okay, whatever Dark Man or whatever your World of Warcraft name is, and then he throws like
some lightning bolts. And I thought that was cool too because I saw like when he swings now, he actually has like the electricity.
Yeah, he has like electricity burning.
It used to just be when he said that lightning would strike. Like,
yeah, because they're kind of actually really going with like him having like because he is a magic kind of person.
Right.
So
and that makes sense that he'd actually be able to cast.
But it is pretty freaking like it's just amazing. Like the animation's really well done. It's really fun. It even sets up for the next one that's going to be coming out. I guess it's going to be battling with Aquaman.
Oh, Aquaman and that whole Atlantean tale. Well, that's what's good in the Justice League Saga comic. If no one's picked it up yet, the New 52 Origins, it's like the whole thing is the same thing where like Aquaman's kind of coming up saying like, get out of my oceans. You know, you're polluting it. Get out of here. And I'm going to start. And they start having to be more. Not so much as like heroes, but so much as more as diplomats.
Yes.
And you start seeing them more of like what I liked about this too is like war is like where you see Batman like he'll try going toe to toe with you, but sometimes he has to be diplomatic. Like you have to realize like we got to talk it. Like with Superman, I think there's a part where he says something to him, and it finally like.
Oh yeah, that was the thing. He's all like, we have to try talking to him, and Green Lantern's like, what do you mean? And then like he starts charging at Batman and Green Lantern, and he's all like, we need to talk, and like he just puts his hand out, and Superman gets close, he goes Clark.
Oh, so
and then Superman stops. He's all like, and then all of a sudden he looks at Batman and he goes, okay, Bruce Wayne. And then Green Lantern's like, who the hell is Bruce Wayne?
Right, he doesn't know yet.
He doesn't know yet. So it's just kind of funny, just everything. And then it's great because the Flash shows up and Barry and Hal Jordan know each other. So he's all like, "Oh, is that Batman? The Batman?"
Yeah,
so then he runs over to Batman.
yeah.
He's like, "Batman, Mr. Batman, Batman," and he's all like, "I need to want to thank
Yeah,
you."
like,
know,
thank you,
It's
and,
like,
nice
he's
to meet
playing
you,
me- And then he's all like, "Don't talk to him. He's such a tool." And then Batman turns out, he's like, "I noticed you're working Central City. He's like, you do good work out there and stuff like that." He's like, "Wow." And then he's all like, "Hey, Barry, I think you got a little brown on your nose." So it's just like all
that's
these
why I like
like,
it is he calls him a douchebag like right to his face. He's like, "You're really a douchebag," or whatever.
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
just-
and then like that's when I think he reveals himself to Hal to let him know like, well, this is why
he's
I'm
like
doing
he's
it,
like,
you know?
"Look, we're dealing with an Amazon, a speedster, a magician, and stuff like that." He's like, "You and I are the only two,
yeah, the only two who are normal,
who are, like,
yeah,
normal,
more
basically.
normal than anybody else.
Everybody else." So, but it's really well done. It's just funny and all these things like that. Like the best part is like they're trying to take out Darkseid's eyes because of his beams.
Oh, the Omega beams.
So
yeah.
they take out one eye with
sweet.
her sword, and
Oh,
then
she like plunges.
like
it?
she
Oh,
plunges
nice.
in, and they're trying to take out the other one. So she's all like, "Quick, Flash, grab something." So he runs over. There's a guy with a crowbar. He's like, "Hi, I need this to save the world. Thank you, bye." And then he takes off. So
All
it's
right,
just
and
like,
uses that.
and then he
nice.
runs over and he stabs that. And then it's great because he stabs him with that, but then Shazam grabs him and then yells Shazam, and the electrocution hits that. So it's just like it's just an all-out thing. And then that's what I love because Darkseid's like, "I'm Darkseid. I can't take this." Superman comes out of the boom tube finally because he was captured for a little bit, and he's like, "I don't care," and just like headbutts him. It's just really well done. Just like all the dynamics and just like the voice talent behind it. It's such a really good thing, and
Sweet.
it really gets you pumped up because now I'm like, I want to pick up the Justice.
Well, then
League
it's
ones
cool
now.
too because then like you watch and you probably start thinking the Dark Knight, you know, that's coming out because now that just got announced today too. Zack Snyder said they're going to pull more and more from the Dark Knight Returns.
Oh yeah.
So like you might end up seeing that like double suit that he has that he fights Superman with, especially if they're still keeping it like Batman Superman.
Yeah.
But then after seeing this animation, you can definitely see like how they could do it.
Yeah.
And I already started having like thoughts too, where like they'll meet up and it'll be like we're literally like he's rigged like everything to blow up, and as they start fighting, like he'll push Superman somewhere. And that's the one thing I like too is like there was a thing that I saw where he did like. Because he is Ninja Master, even though Superman's flying at him like at a Mach speed, he could easily just still turn and like pivot and like throw him.
Yeah,
and
like
actually
using
like,
his own
use his
weight
own
against
strength
him.
against him, and that's why I think we might see it too.
So yeah, that's what I'm really excited for. Like, it's just such a great movie. Definitely check it out. And then I also picked up Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker.
Oh,
They
yeah,
had that
always
at Best
good.
Buy, and that was the uncut version. So I finally got to see like the good one where it's all like Robin actually shoots the guy.
yeah, and it
all
wasn't
this
just
other
the
thing.
out
Yeah,
of
the wacky
camera
kind of
like.
thing. Just a lot of good stuff. But yeah, I just forgot how good that movie was. That's
And
another
again,
one.
you got Conroy again. As,
Yeah, you got
as
Conroy, you got Tara Strong comes back
Mark
from Batgirl,
Hamill.
Mark Hamill as the Joker, all these good things. So
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was just fantastic. But yeah, so I haven't done that, but I just watched a bunch of I've just
Awesome.
been watching a bunch of like movies and stuff like that. I even think I watched like Flashpoint Paradox again.
Yeah, because it's such a good
movie.
one. Another one, I think we were talking about it. Like, go watch if you haven't watched it, I know everyone's seen it. You hate it or you love it, which is weird. I think it's more rare if you like this version. But the Daredevil movie is out. It's been out for a while. A lot of people have their like whatever opinions about it as they want, but there is a director's cut version of Daredevil,
Mark Hamill
and
sucks
it's
in it.
supposed to be like 10 times better because it's supposed to be like the original telling without all the edits and everything, so you can really like see like where they were going with it. And a lot of parts like make a lot more sense because there's parts with Bullseye that just don't make sense in it, but when they like do the director's cut, there's a lot more to it. So definitely, yeah, check out the director's cut. I think you guys would like the film actually a lot more than I think you would have when we saw it in like the theater because we were getting like the dumbed down version. So that's out as well. So definitely check that out. There was a new trailer and stuff out too. I think for Quicksilver, they have like these little blots that they're doing for all the new heroes that are going to be in that the new X-Men one. They have like the
Quicksilver,
Sentinel.
Scarlet Witch. They showed the Sentinels finally.
So it'd be pretty neat.
So
to
they
see
got a
how
bunch of
they're
different
doing.
stuff going on with that. I'm trying to remember what else, but yeah, yeah. But and then the trailer for Son of Batman.
Son of Batman, yeah, that looks
was
good.
on the thing. It was good, and it's cool. I think they're using the same animation style since Flashpoint Paradox
Yeah.
for these next couple of movies that have come up. So
Yeah, 'cause I was gonna say like Talia looked really freaking good in it.
Mhm.
We were like, Jesus, like
yeah, and then Deathstroke's in it.
Batman
So.
hit that again.
Oh yeah. And then they're using
Damian,
I don't
leave the
know. I don't
room.
know who the voice is, but they're using the same guy who did Batman in this for
Yeah.
that one. So
Always
they're
got that
doing pretty
very,
good,
like,
which
rough-
is weird because they used Kevin Conroy for Batman.
Some of the
and-
other stuff, yeah.
and the Justice League one. So I don't know. Kevin Conroy is always going to be Batman for me.
But this guy does a good job, and I even like the RoboCop in the Dark Knight Returns. Like the guy who played the original RoboCop did it.
Yeah, no, he did a
Arnett
good
or
job.
whatever
Well, it was
that
funny
was.
because we were talking about who our favorite Batmans was, I think, on one of the episodes of Underground Railroad, and I was all like Kevin Conroy, and everyone's looking at me like,
Yeah,
who? And I'm
who's
like,
that guy?
I did the animated series. So,
Well, I'm just gonna say it now. I'll say Ben Affleck, so that way when everyone's like boo, then I can be like, well, then I don't know my Batmans, but that's why I'm a Superman fan.
you don't know your Batman.
Batman, isn't he the guy? Who
I don't think we have a
wears
character
pants?
spotlight this week.
Didn't do one this week. I figure we'll save that for next week because we did
actually,
Mandarin.
I think next week we'll do. No, we didn't do Mandarin.
I did him, and then if you go to episode 5 and look at the page, I did a whole thing on Mandarin.
Mandarin.
Just
I
for
thought
you,
it was
bud.
no, it was Submariner.
Submariner. Well, the man.
Yeah,
Margarine.
Margarine.
Margarine. Man.
No, next week I think I want to look at one of the cool supervillains that I've actually grown attached to now after the Flashpoint Paradox, Professor Zoom.
Oh, nice.
So, and it's funny because I was talking about it. They did a Flash movie, and they did. I think the last Flash movie should be Flashpoint Paradox.
Yeah, that'd be
and
good.
I think the perfect guy to play Professor Zoom, Bryan Cranston.
He could do a good job, yeah, because he's older and everything else.
It has nothing to do with him being older. Just I think Professor Cranston could think because he could play a guy who's like just like I'm better than everybody. I'm this thing, but yeah, such a good stuff. So of course during the Super Bowl there was the
Yeah, if you go to longbosscast.com
Transfubu
and check out our podcast page, we have episode number 5. I called him the Mandarin, but I put Aquaman and then I put the line through it to edit it. And so he says, Mandarin bitches, a.k.a. Fish Dick. First appearance, fuck you. Powers, water. Weakness, water. Story, better than Aquaman, boosh. And then I have a picture of him, and I put the quote as, I am the Mandarin, and unlike you, I am amazing. M chicken. So I have to change that to now Submariner. But,
well, the funny part about Submariner is now that Aquaman is becoming like him in the new 52. Like, he's becoming this badass where he's just like, I don't care, I'm Atlantean.
What's nice, too, is if you go to episode 5, you can watch those previews. Steve, you had mentioned the thing about the Unleashed, where Superman's like, finally we get to see him cut loose because of how there's a rare occasion where Superman can finally
unleash. It
was
was that episode of Justice League Unlimited where Darkseid shows up and Superman I thought was just so cool where he's all like, everybody else I have to hold back, I have to pull my punches, but you, it's a no hold.
Yeah, because I think he says a line in it about I live in a world of cardboard because anything I do can destroy it, so he has to be very careful. But with somebody like him, so I have the clip of that, and then I also had the clip of Darkseid and him, Batman fighting Darkseid when he says rigged everything to blow.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then he's just like, well played.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that's what I love, and even that one Kingdom Come comic Kevin Smith was talking about, where it's like the Atom takes him out.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like he goes into his.
Oh, that's what I liked about that comic. I read that one too, because then I went back in time where it was present day, and if they let Lex take it, it became in the future it became power for everybody. And then if he destroyed it, Superman destroyed it, then it caused the effects of what happened with the apocalypse. And that was cool, because the Atom was
Stone,
who cares about the Atom? But finally it was what a smart idea to go in his brain, wipe it out. And so then as the world destroys, he's stuck there, seeing that his world is over and that everything's going to be wiped out.
Yeah,
There was nothing they could do about it. But yeah, that was a good comic too, because that also was dealing with the Flash too, where Flash was trying to get him, distract him enough to do it. Because again, it was the Flash, what are you going to do with Darkseid? And it was able to say
well, that's what I liked
they
about
each have their positives.
That's what I'm saying. The Flash, I've really jumped into the Flash now. This is a character that I absolutely like. I never thought I would like. Barry Allen's Flash is just amazing. Just reading that comic and then learning everything about his speed, tapping into his speed force and all these different things and things he has to be careful with. Because even though you're thinking he
runs really fast,
but
he's
he has to be careful because he could even do it and he even just goes so fast that now he's just a blur. Basically everybody's in slow motion time and he wouldn't know how to get back there. So there's all these cool things with him, and he actually does even though some of his characters are kind of dumb. If you want to think about it, but
the villains, it's time, it's explainable.
But in the new 52, they've boofed him up, so now Captain Cold actually now is Mr. Not like Mr. Freeze, but he actually has ice powers. It's not no longer a gun. Same with Mirror Master. All these kind of cool new things they're doing with the new 52. So it's funny because I had this discussion with somebody where they were like, I don't like DC. I'm like, look, I've been a huge Marvel fan, and I just finally was like, look, I didn't know a good jumping on point with DC Comics. Same thing with Marvel right now. I'm having I want to jump on to new Marvel
where do I
stuff,
go?
but I don't know where I go. With them doing this new 52 start over, even though everyone's so why are you doing this? I think it's such a great thing because people like me who've been out of the DC universe for so long, I can now jump into all this freshly new stuff.
Actually, I got a good one for you. For Marvel, it's called Avenging Spider-Man.
Okay.
And it's done by Joe Madureira, who did like the Battle Chasers. He also did like the Darksiders game. He kind of went into games and then kind of come back and forth. He did Marvel Ultimates 3, and that was one I loved because it was like basically where it was like kind of like the Avengers, but it was like Captain America was kind of trying to find himself again. Like he was the leader and he ended up making Wasp the leader, and then like is trying to discover like what it is he is.
I never put a woman in charge.
It's so good though, no, because like Tony's got it back to drinking. Him and the Black Widow, like a sex tape got released, like of him and Black Widow. So it's like TMZ's like all over it, and like its sales are through the roof. And like, how could that even link? Like you're supposed to have this thing on like lockdown. Like it gets into more of like the strange like Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch relationship, how it's more of like a relationship than it was like brother sister. So they get into that. Then it had like the Brotherhood, and what was so good is that it opens up with Thor being thrown through a building and Venom is on the other end, and he's like, where is like this thing, and they're like, what the hell? So they all try to start fighting him, and then Thor ends up like electrocuting him and he melts, and they realize like he was like a robot or something, like it wasn't really Venom. So then of course like it's great because Hawkeye, I guess like in this saga, like loses his wife, loses his kids, like due to something that happened. So he's like he has no hold bars. Like he has pistols now that have like arrows and stuff, and he's like, whatever, like if I die I don't care kind of thing. Like he's like a loose cannon.
Okay.
So it's cool because then like him and Spider-Man meet up, and like it's such it's like the best thing with Spider-Man, where Spider-Man's just like on a roof, he's like lands on top of a police car, and he's hearing the thing about like there's like this happening, and he gets shot in the arm with like a dart, and all of a sudden he's like ow 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 ow, like rolling down the hill, and like then it's him and Hawkeye fighting, because all of a sudden he's like, what's your problem? He's like, you know about this Venom thing, we just had him attack the tower, I need to find out what's going on. So it's great, they're battling, and finally Spider-Man like webs him, ties him up, and he's hanging upside down, and he's like, okay, you got to answer to me, and he's like 3, 2, 1, and then with that the toxin I guess kicks in, and Spider-Man falls out of the tree, and it's just like
oh jeez.
And then he's like that'll be like a hangover, that'll be like a hangover if you know what that's like, because like obviously in this telling like Spider-Man's still like a kid almost. So then it's cool because then Captain America kind of comes to his age, his Spider-Man's aid, and like says like, come on, let's go back to the tower. And as they're walking away, Spider-Man's like, hey guys, little help. And then like as they're farther away, he's like, I hate you. But it's a really good telling. It's really good art style.
I have to check this stuff out.
Ultimates 3 and definitely the Avenging Spider-Man.
Deadpool
really
is
good.
a character I want to get.
Because what's cool is the Avenging Spider-Man gets into Mole Man again. But it's like Mole Man's even been taken over by another subterranean race, so like he's like a prisoner. So like there's even
because Mole Man was more of a Fantastic
Four, yeah. So definitely they kind of bring him back too, and it's kind of like, oh, it's neat, they're bringing back some of these older characters.
Did you? I was listening to Straight Outta Austin. They were talking about the new Fantastic Four movie. They're still doing casting, but apparently the guy who might be playing Johnny Storm is going to be African American.
That'd be awesome.
And everyone was flipping out because they're like, what about Sue Storm? And like, you know what they should do? They should just get a white guy, or they should just get Chris Evans, go up into space, and then after he gets hit with the space beams, he comes back and he's black. He's like, what's up?
Well, I don't know if you heard the what they wanted to do with that too. Let me see here if I can find it, because there was a note, because I read about it. Basically what it is it's like where the way they want to tell it is that Reed and his partner had this accident, and like Reed becomes he's intelligent obviously, but he becomes the stretchy guy, the other guy becomes the rock guy, but they start working for like the government, and then because they're doing all these tests trying to help them like either reverse engineer it or whatever, then like that's how Storm, or like that's how like
Sue Storm
and
them
get affected then, because it's like, oh no, like that was like then becomes like a freak accident kind of thing with them, where I was kind of like, well, that's weird, but then it makes more sense, because if they're two like think about it, two scientists go up into space, get hit with cosmic rays, come back down, and they're affected, like that makes sense. But when you're bringing like Sue, who I think was a scientist,
I
thought
she was a scientist,
but then she just brings her idiot like brother along.
I know.
Like that doesn't make any sense. Like why
Jimmy
would they
G.
do
Willikers, kids.
So like I guess that's why they're kind of doing the tell.
Well, I know why they're redoing all these movies, because they don't want to lose the rights. So.
Right, but then here's the best part: is there's a movie coming out that you can find out. They're doing a documentary about the original Fantastic Four, and I think it's something called like Tales of Doom. Yeah, something like that.
Tales of Doom.
The Untold Tales
or Doomed,
of Doom.
I think it's
Doomed. I think is what it's called. called. You can find it, like, look for your local listings to find it.
When it comes, I'm not sure when it's coming out, but I think they were doing a Kickstarter for it, or something like that. But yeah, it's supposed to be talking about like the original fan. Now you can
one that they made just so they could retain the rights.
Right.
To
Now
it,
you can see, like, I think it was supposed to be in 1994. Now you can find this at Comic-Con
Yeah,
bootlegs, but
bootlegs
it's even online right now. Like, you can watch the entire. We should do that. We should totally watch it.
Roger Corman's Untold Story, doomedthemovie.com. You can visit.
Yeah.
You can actually watch a teaser for it, which is like, it looks brilliant. The teaser looks brilliant because, like, literally the thing looks like it's like a guy on, like, it looks like the Hulk.
Yeah.
But then they just kind of like texturize it. Like, they didn't do anything with it. They just like put him in a Hulk suit and then just kind of texturize it. That's great though. But yeah, there's like a Twitter account called DoomedFF. And there's also the doomedthemovie.com. You can check it out and like find your local listings because I guess like it did get funded. I guess like they're showing that they were funded. So now this is just a matter of like releasing it into the theaters because it's a whole documentary about it. You can donate on their site. It looks great. Like it's hilarious like how that came out because I remember that because I remember going into the film when it used to be like Blockbuster or Hollywood Video and they would have like the Captain America.
Yeah,
we
it's
were
the
like,
Captain America movie.
But we could never forget it. Like they always had the box, but it was always rented out, or it was like something else, like Spider-Man. It was always rented out. So like,
yeah.
I remember seeing it there once.
They had the Captain America, the original one, and then they also had the Dolph Lundgren. I think it was with Punisher was a movie.
Oh, it's so good. I remember seeing that on TV. Like I remember how old that one is.
They also did a Nick Fury.
Oh yeah, with
David Hasselhoff.
And it was funny because he felt like he even said something the other day, like I'm a better Nick Fury than Samuel Jackson. All Sam Jackson was is like black is the new white, and he's like the black. Everyone loves the black Nick Fury. And what I love about it is when they did the Ultimate series of Marvel and they retold the story of Nick Fury. Now here's how I feel. I feel back in the 1930s, 1940s when they were doing the comics, predominantly America was white. Predominantly, you have to speak to white people, which is why a lot of the characters were white. And very slowly but surely, they started introducing black characters. Neil Adams talks about it on the Kevin Smith prime example. Like the logic that he came up with makes perfect sense to me. For the Green Lantern ring to find Hal Jordan based on what the evidence was about how like he had fear, but he was also courageous and blah, blah, blah. Like, great, that makes sense. That's his story. But for it to then all of a sudden leave him and find the Guy Gardner, like another white guy, like seriously, another white guy. Like it makes more sense that, you know, half of the world is basically either Indian, Chinese, or black. Like that's like the majority of people in this planet. So would it make more sense for like the ring to find somebody who is of African descent? And that's why I'm loving like Nick Fury being black. Like it makes more sense. One, think about it this way: like, not a lot of white people are going into the military. Just I'm throwing it out there. There are people who go out there and they risk their lives, and anyone who does is a hero in my book. But let's face it,
unless you're in the Navy and all you do is sit on a boat and do nothing.
Seaman. And that's what it is. Or you talk to the mariner. But basically, yeah, like a lot more people.
No, the mariner does more than that.
Well, that's true. But basically, if you're in the military, a lot of people are going to be of ethnic backgrounds. Let me
rephrase that. If you were in the Navy and actually did fight for a country, I have no beef with you. I'm talking about the people who go like, I was in the Navy. It's like, where were you stationed? They're like, in Peru.
Yeah, I was in Peru and I played the trombone in like the
you didn't
orchestra.
Like
you didn't really do anything.
Like I don't want to piss on the Navy because I know the Navy dues do their dues.
Everyone does their duty.
I'm talking about people who are like, oh yeah, I was protecting the world from terrorism in Florida,
potatoes,
or
like
something like
Germany.
that. Yeah, those kind of fuckers. So,
like screw you. Anyone who's ever taken a bullet or fired a gun,
in
our name of freedom, I give you much thanks. But it's true. Like I'd love, like for me, Doctor Doom being, or not Doctor Doom, but Lex Luthor being black. I thought of like
Denzel Washington.
I thought of more like Aquaman being like of like Oriental descent because of like the whole idea of like a lost race, like this like the land bridge.
Oh, why? Because I like fish? Is that what you're trying to say?
They love sushi.
I hate sushi.
Not even that. Not just saying.
Aqua.
I'm just saying,
man.
Then we need more of that.
Aqua.
We need more of that. Aqua Fria.
Aqua Fria, man.
What was the one? It's called Pure. What was it? There's Dasani by Coke, and then what's the other one? Aquafina?
Is that by Pepsi?
Yeah, it's by Pepsi. So that's what he would do. Aquafina! And then he like opens it. But yeah, I'm in the whole boat of like, you want to do like they did that with the new Ultimates, like Spider-Man dies, Peter Parker dies, and then they had the kid who's like African American who becomes like
Hispanic heritage.
But they didn't really like explain it too well. Like I think that I kind of get where they were going with it, but like to me, just start off. He comes from an unprivileged family and he's black. Like good, we have a black Spider-Man then. I'm cool with it. Like I could care less. What I love is like what they did with the new Batman about like the new Batman Incorporated, and like now there is a black Batman out there. There is a Batman who's kicking ass like in the cultural world out there. Like there's not just like, oh, it's all white people, I only hang out with white people. Like he's actually going to other places like and training these people who are like a whole society of like the Batmans. And then,
yeah,
like,
because
it
isn't
just
like
spans
the
off.
one guy called like Batwing?
Yeah, there was one guy called Batwing, and there was like in the future they did like a future Batman, and he was like black, and it was like, yeah, like they didn't really tie into it. Where like now it's like all in the same time frame, like they have in all these different Batmans, girl Batmans, black guy Batmans.
Well, even
all
with
these different
Batwoman,
races.
I want to read that story arc because I know they probably pulled it and they have to restart over after what happened. But like that was such a cool sounding story arc because she was a lesbian.
Yeah.
And it was like she was about to get married and all these other kind of things. So it's all like, and that's what I hated with DC. They're like, well, we don't want to.
Well, then didn't they do that? Hal became like homosexual or something.
They actually it wasn't Hal. It was Scott.
Oh, Scott though.
The very first Green Lantern came out, but that was just them trying to compete with the Marvel gay wedding. But it's just like, but they were saying like, oh, no one in the DC universe can settle down and get married. I'm looking at them going like, don't you? They're like, there's no happy endings. I'm like, but that would complicate things. Like, so like think about it. She's Batwoman. She's married to a cop,
right?
So obviously now she has to keep this secret from her, which she's already been keeping from her,
right?
And it's all like all these kind of things. It's like,
well, did you ever read Identity Crisis?
No, I haven't.
That is a good book because it all talks about that. Basically, it's about where when it's right when the split. Like I don't remember if you remember there was a split where there was like the Justice League and it was like Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman, and that group, and then like Hawkeye, like Elastic Man, like all these other characters kind of went off and did their own, like became like almost like there was a divide in the Justice League, and it all stemmed from this thing called Identity Crisis, where basically what happens is like I think it's either Elastic Man's or somebody's like somebody's Stretchy Man or something like that, like's wife.
Elongated Man,
I think is they're up in the tower. Something happens, they all leave, and she's just hanging out there, and all of a sudden Dr. Light comes in and he ends up like raping her.
Yes.
And then like so what they end up doing is they all come back, they catch him, and they end up like wiping his mind or something, like deleting that out of his mind.
Yeah.
But right as they're doing it, like then Batman shows up, so then they wipe Batman's mind too, because it's like, well, obviously he knows we need to cover this up. But Batman, like that's why I like is Dr. Light was smart enough to like figure it out, and then so was Batman. Like Batman knew that there was a gap of time missing in his brain.
Oh, Batman's always 10
and that's why I liked about it. Like he was like trying to figure out like
why am I missing? Isn't that when he kind of just goes, you know what, I don't want to be
he's
part
like,
of
I'm
this.
out of this also. Yeah, he's like, I'm split too. So because of that, then what ends up happening is like the wife, and I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't read it, but basically, spoilers here, block out for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But basically what ends up being is like the wife is going behind and doing all these murders. She's killing all these like heroes, family members and things like that. Like the time it was like Tim Drake's dad.
Okay.
And, like he gets killed by the Boomerang, and then the Boomerang gets killed too. Like they both like fight each other to the death and die. And then like Batman's like hoofing it there. Like no, like I know who it is. And he tries to get there, but like right when he gets there, like Tim finds his dad or like his mom or dad dead.
Yeah.
And he's like no, and he's just like, and then Batman's just like holding him. But then like what it is, it's like Lois and Superman get closer, like all these people getting closer, and they're talking about like that very thing. Like no one gave a shit about like the wives and the husbands, but now once people started dying, then it started bringing people together, and it was like her big spin to try and like get everyone to come back. And like that was the thing, like her and him got divorced like over it, like because she got raped and she couldn't let it go. Like he just like, I can't deal with this anymore, you can't let it go or we can't move forward. So like almost like she was damaged goods, and that's why she went on and almost became like a supervillain and did all these things to try and bring everyone together. So I think like it's true, like there are instances of closure, instances where you could have it, but I think a prime example is like the Superman Lois Lane. Like they like after like what was it, 60 years, like they finally get married, but it was like they had Doomsday first, and then like they had the return, and then they had the wedding. Like they still like they pushed that off all the way to the end. And I think in the new 52s and stuff, like they're like they did a thing with him and Wonder Woman.
Actually, that was actually the thing with the War movie is like Superman shows up and he starts like he saves a plane, and then Wonder Woman comes down like from the thing, starts fighting, and then he looks at her, and they both have like this kind of like gaze, like they're kind of
like, hey,
and he's all like you're strong. She's like, I know.
Yeah,
but it's kind of like this thing where they
tell like,
it looks like attractions coming that way.
And that's why I like it.
I'm as much as everyone was so pissed off about that, because I remember them talking about like Superman and her kiss in one comic. I think
that was like the big thing. It was like they
and
started
everyone's all like, "No, she's supposed to be with Lois Lane." I'm all like, "Why?" I'm all like, if you think about it, it's all like they even did that with Batman and Wonder Woman in the Justice League cartoon show. Like him and her were having a thing, and I'm all like, I go, what's the big deal? I go, yeah, okay, he's supposed to be Lois Lane, but also you have to look at it from Lois Lane's standpoint. When she finds out that Clark Kent is Superman, she realizes like he has this huge responsibility. This is like the weight of the world is on his shoulder.
Yeah.
And for me being in that, like, it's like, how could you even accept?
Let's see,
like, how could you deal with that?
Here's what I like though, is like in the new telling of the movie that they did with Cavill and her, with Amy Adams, like to me, like that is perfect because you credit her being a reporter. The kiss, like finally that kiss, like she goes from like falling out of the sky, says nothing, like that's what I listen to Kevin Smith thing, and it's true when you watch it. She falling out of the sky, Superman's like ripping off the thing trying to save her. You see, and all her you do is look at her face, and she goes from like I'm going to die to you've rescued me, and then to the embrace of them kissing, and it is like a passionate like oh like you feel like everyone like in the you can feel the oh, and so for me like what I like about it is Lois Lane makes Kal-El mortal. Like he makes him human.
Human, yes.
Like he finally like has the understanding of like what it means to be a human, and it's kind of that whole interesting tale of like, but clearly you're a god. Like if you think about it, like you are a god. Like you do not need to worry yourself with these mortals and stuff. So that's why I think it's pretty neat about it. About like now, that's why I like is now we're hopefully going to see like my responsibility is like what I'm capable of. And I'm only going to get stronger and stronger and stronger, so I need to treat things more delicately.
I mean, and even put it this way, look at what if Superman really wants to have some rough sex? Wonder Woman is perfect for him.
Well, unfortunately, like that was the whole debacle with Mallrats, where it's like if Superman tries to impregnate Lois Lane,
like his
just
baby...
the velocity of his sperm is going to shred her to bits. Like if you think about it, like literally, like he projectiles
or it works for normally and it goes in there, but then like the baby gets a, like she said, she gets a sunburn,
growth,
baby just goes boom and like kicks right through.
Yeah,
her
exactly.
stomach.
What if the baby kicks and it's like then he's like she explodes again. So
which I think it was funny because it's all like Kevin Smith knocked that out of the ballpark. He's all like, only Wonder Woman has these, an Amazon like uterus.
But that's the whole point. Like she's more like a god too, and she's able to withstand that kind of stuff. So to me, I don't mind that too much because even in Kingdom Come, they had a relationship later on in life after Lois had passed away and everything else, and it made more sense, because obviously like they've been through everything together. They're both kind of godlike and everything. And then even and even the telling that I'm kind of hearing from the new Man of Steel movie is like maybe they're even somewhat like in the same bloodline. Like they're almost like might be, which would explain like the godlike and the abilities and things. So it'd be pretty interesting to see how they go. And obviously, like I heard a rumor about Man of Steel with the Lex, how they're gonna play it up. So they're gonna kind of do it.
LexCorp.
Well, they're gonna do it where like they were talking about how
Follow me.
This Lex is gonna have tattoos, which I'm kind of like that's weird.
What?
He's gonna be bald, so I'm like okay.
All right.
But then they said like basically what they're gonna do is that whole like from the age of 14 to whatever he was kind of like on the streets like being a thug while his daddy ran the company. That's where like he went from being like a gang member to like the gang leader in a year kind of thing, which is like explains like his underground connections. It's going to be this whole dynamic because if you think about it, because like okay, Ben Affleck's going to be obviously coming there to help rebuild Metropolis. Find out Bruce Wayne's going to come there, and now you're having to deal with like Lex's dad, right? Obviously, like they're almost the same age or if not older, and then you're going to have like this upstart coming up being like, well, this is how we're going to do it, and like being very like matter of fact and like almost like cold about it. And then I thought what was cool is in the New 52, I think a lot of people forgot if you read the one with Lex where he's like basically torturing Superman when they capture him that time, and like they're shooting his cape and they're electrocuting him and stuff, and like they say something to him and he's like, oh, I can't believe he's withstanding this, and he's like he's like it's not a he, it's it, and I think that's what they're gonna try and do is make it more like we don't know what this is, like we're gonna try and like figure this out and like that whole thing, because I think what they're gonna try and do with it is make it where Lex is. He's always been kind of like a problem solver, always like wants to know everything. Like he knows everything. And so I think like they're going to try and do that with it where he's going to try and figure him out, even though there's nothing to figure out. He's just, this is what it is. Like he's just Superman, but he's going to try and mold it and see if he can kind of like mimic it and stuff. So we'll see how that goes. But that was an interesting rumor. Also, big news today is it's funny because Kevin Smith talked about it. So MTV, I think, is working on a show of Gotham where Gordon is younger.
Is it MTV or is it Fox?
I think it might be Fox, but I know MTV reported this today where they finally casted the guy who's going to play Gordon.
Okay.
They show him as a beat cop. They show him as like his like regular cop. Basically, that's what it is. It's a cop drama.
Yeah.
But it's going to be with him like growing
Gotham,
up, and it's like in Gotham and stuff. And it's like, oh, it's really cool. They did talk about like they never mentioned it before, but then after Kevin Smith and
Paul Dini.
Paul Dini talked about it. They all of a sudden are now saying that Bruce Wayne will be in it as a kid or whatever, so they're going to tie that in somehow.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of people are like, I think we need to be talking to somebody.
Yeah,
it's like,
I'd rather, to be honest, like as much
Kevin
as I would
Smith,
love
like
to
Kevin
see
Smith had the greatest idea because it's like
him and Paul Dini. Oh, that was you got the writers.
So brilliant.
You could get Zack Snyder, who's been writing the Batman now for the New 52s. Paul Dini, who's wrote like every episode. Okay, my guilty pleasure. I started watching Batman: The Brave and the Bold.
Clearly.
Okay, if you watch that and just go back to the campiness of the Adam West cartoon show, you'll absolutely fall in love with this show. It's freaking fantastic.
Yeah.
And some of the shows that Paul Dini wrote, they're fantastic. There's the one with Joe Chill where Batman confronts his parents' killers and stuff like that. So freaking good and stuff like that. And it's just like the voice acting in it is amazing.
Because I think like we watched one where it was him fighting the Pharaoh. And the guy had the ruby where he was turning them into zombies, and like they broke it, and like him and Robin were like doing stuff, and them just being like old chum.
Yeah, like they'll say stuff.
Like,
but what I love about it is just like the whole corniness behind it, where it's all like you want to go out to dinner. He's like, evil doesn't take dinner breaks, and neither do I. And then he like takes off or whatnot. And what I love is the guy from freaking Drew Carey's show who played Oswald as the voice of Batman. Yeah. The one episode with Joe Chill, it's I think it's Fate, and I forget who the other guy was. But it's Mark Hamill's voice in it. Kevin Conroy's the voice in it. Adam West comes back and plays his dad in it. Thomas Wayne. It's such a and what sucks is there's only 2 seasons on it, but there's 3 seasons, and I want to see the final episode because that was a rap party one.
Right.
But okay, Batmite, that throwaway character that was invented. You know whose voice is him? Paul Rubin, the guy who's Pee-wee.
Perfect.
It's fantastic. I saw the episode with him in it. It's so great because then he's like, oh my god, Batman, but he's doing all these things. He's like, oh, I don't like that outfit for you, and then he starts going through all these different Batmans, and the one Batman he chooses is Frank Miller's Batman from The Dark Knight, like he's that huge one or whatnot. It's like it's such a because
Batmite was almost like Wixelplex. Where
he's from the same dimension.
Yeah, he's from like the same dimension and stuff.
But he's a hardcore.
So if you're a fan of that, like the Public Enemy saga, where it was like Superman, Batman, Public Enemies, Superman, Batman, whatever, and they had like the Supergirl saga and all that stuff. Well, there's a Superman, Batman one where basically there's a Bizarro Batman.
Oh, really?
It's amazing because basically, like, Bizarro Batman is leaving evidence all over the place, shooting everyone with guns, like killing everything. And then it's funny because then Batman's investigating, going like, "There's so much evidence, but like I can't figure out who this guy is."
Yeah.
But because it's him. And then like what it's cool is it's like Bizarro Batman and Bizarro meet up. So it's like Public Enemies. You have Superman and Batman working together, and you have the Bizarros working together.
That's fantastic.
And then what's really cool is the characters in it. So it's Mixoplex, and he's playing a game of chess with the Joker. And so that's why there's all this dimensional play going on, and why it's like almost kind of really campy is because the Joker's like basically they're betting for magical powers or whatever. It's almost like an even game, like when they come into it kind of thing. So it's like, oh, that's pretty cool.
But
but the Bizarro Batman is so worth just checking out.
Okay, I'll have to check it out. But
hilarious. Because even the talk, he's like, my parents did something, and I became this. Like instead of him being like, my parents are dead, or whatever,
the reverse thing, because that's what he had. Because that's what I also remember with Justice League, like when Bizarro's in there, he like Lex Luthor's talking, he was like, Superman, I want you to do very bad things to this person over here, and he's like, okay, and then it's all like, but he does like, it's like the opposite of everything.
Yeah.
So, I would highly recommend it to people. I've been telling people because it's like, you got all seasons of Justice League on Netflix right now. You have 2 seasons of Batman Brave and the Bold, and you have Batman Beyond. I really would love to see Superman animated right there on Netflix, and also the Batman animated series. Hopefully they'll get those on there. But I've been telling people, like, you have to watch these shows. But yeah, Batman Brave and the Bold is such a guilty pleasure. And then I wanted to see, Beware of the Batman. Because that got canceled as well, and even Young Justice, like really need to get DC stuff on Netflix because there's so many good things on it.
Oh yeah, so he was called Bat-Zaro.
Was
his name, and I'm just like looking at this one screenshot, and it's hilarious because it was like Bizarro comes down, and he's like, Bat-Zaro, where are you? And he's like, Bat-Zaro, no here, shot dead by his parents. It's like, wait, what? So that's pretty funny, like how they did it. But they have a whole thing about him. Like if you will read the new the Batman Superman, there's a whole thing with him. And yeah, like he's got blood all over his hands. He's got chains. He's got the creepy grin and the white face like Batman does, or like Bizarro does. And he's got like it's hilarious. Like it's really good read. Because then it's funny because like him and like he's shooting, like, you know how like Superman and Batman meet, and they fight a little bit. Well, that's like what him and Bizarro do. Like he's just shooting at Bizarro, and Bizarro's just like, like, oh, the tickles, like ha ha ha, and they're just like laughing and they're flying upside down and like, it's a quirky tale, but it's really good. Like it's really clever how they did it. And that I think was a saga where they're jumping, basically Batman and Superman are jumping through time, and that was the one where like Superman sees like he sees his world explode, and he has the opportunity to rescue his real parents.
Oh yeah, now I want
and
that
he
shirt.
Says no, and then like then Batman sees his parents being attacked, and he actually does something about it. So that's like that whole saga is part of that. It's definitely
what? I'm very surprised about that. Now I just saw they have a shirt of the Bat Zorro shirt where it's the upside down bat, but now I'm just all like, where's the backwards Superman one for the Bizarro? I've never seen that. Like,
they have it all over the place. You just have to find them. Like if I look it up right now, like Bizarro's T-shirt, it's predominant. And that's what I'm saying. Like I'm telling you, we're basically it's a backwards S. Like here's one right here for like $20. And they have like what's really cool is like there's like I said like Zod's body. We don't know what happens to his body. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they come back with a Superman's whatever like a Bizarro in this film or whatever.
Yeah,
it'd be pretty neat how they do it. Because I remember, like, because in the animated series, like, they tried to clone Superman, and the clone was just, like, it warped enough. Like, it didn't absorb the radiation enough, or didn't process enough.
Is that how it worked? Because I just remember in the Superman animated series, like, all of a sudden, Bizarro comes down, and he just starts, like...
That was the second episode.
Okay.
See, there was actually one prior. What they did is there was one prior where Superman must have bled or something. He got his thing. Whole warehouse full of Superman, like, clones in jars. Superman discovers it, like, because basically what happens is all of a sudden he's flying on, like Clark's there, and all of a sudden he goes to change, and all of a sudden Superman comes down and rescues everyone, and even Superman's like, what the, what the fuck?
Yeah, what the fuck?
And then of course the kid shows, so he's like, what the friends? So like then like Superman flies off.
What the friends?
And so he follows him, and he's like, who are you? He's like, I'm Superman. He's like, well, so am I. Like, and so then they end up like fighting a little bit, and then with that, when he punches the Bizarro Superman, like he starts having like the white face come on. So they bring him back in, they retreat him. They say, no, the clone's rejecting the radiation of the sun or something like that. And with that, he morphs into like the Bizarro kind of like
kind of like
So then with that, he gets angry and destroys all the lab creatures. So like there's only him left, and then afterwards there's like that whole saga of like he tries to rescue Lois, tries to if I destroy the world, he wanted to make it like Krypton, so he was going to destroy the Earth, so make it like Krypton. So then like Superman ends up taking him to his own planet and like giving him like a pet and everything else, like here's your thing to protect, and that's it. And then like those episode I think you saw was like the second episode where he kind of comes back, and it's like, oh hey Bizarro, like what's going on here? So it's he's definitely one of those characters that's like it's like the perfect like mix, because it's like the Bizarro world and Bizarro everything. So it was cool that they did the Bad Zorro.
Yeah, I'll have to find. I like Bad Zorro right now. He's just funny looking.
Yeah, I'll find.
You know what? You know what I would like to see is I would like to see an animated film of just all Bizarro.
Yeah,
just like an entire
like
Bizarro,
everything.
Justice
Wonder
League
Woman,
Bizarro. Yeah, like all of it.
Everything. That'd be pretty wicked. Oh hell yeah!
Oh, I love the C-Lab with that. Bizarro, I love you, Bizarro. Turtle face.
Yeah, turtle face.
I gave him a whole bag of peanuts. I love that show.
I think my favorite one was the one when he gets locked in the the fridge thing lands on him.
Oh, the soda machine.
The soda machine lands on him, and
he makes friends with the scorpion.
Yeah, exactly. He keeps stinging him, and he's like, "Oh, stop!" No.
And then, but like at like it goes like 20 years later, and he's all like, "Yeah, give me some of that good stuff."
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's so good. Now we're really getting off topic here.
I think my favorite one was the one with the seal, where the seal was like, he was tripping out or whatever, and he's like, you never catch me.
Oh yeah,
and like the seal was like, Stinky Pete.
Yes,
I'm gonna get you, Stinky Pete.
Oh,
like,
yeah, with the shark.
He's like, that's me. That explodes, and like Stinky Pete's head comes. I was like, what the hell's going on?
Oh man,
C-Lab is in our future. I'm telling you.
You know what I didn't get is like when the guy who played Captain Murphy passed away, they tried to keep the series going. They introduced a brand new Captain. What I think they should have done is they should have did like Captain Murphy's twin brother and then brought in the guy who voiced Space Ghost.
Yeah, exactly. Just to keep it going.
And you could have kept it going, and it probably would have been a lot funnier because I didn't like the new Captain they brought in. Yeah. It was just like, C-Lab.
It's like trying too much. Yeah.
That's such a good.
Yeah,
MC
really
Chris.
good.
MC Chris was in it. It's like, I want sex.
That's so good.
Why? Why do you think he'd be good?
Why do you think he'd be good at it?
I want sex. Oh yeah, and then the one guy who had like the whole like legion of like, he's like, oh, excuse me for a minute. He's all like, oh, floating master head.
Yeah,
It's
whatever.
like
It's
so
like-
much random. Hey, you guys play Pac-Man here?
Yeah,
Man, we should just do a whole podcast on C-Lab.
Oh, my goodness.
C-Lab is good. Anything else you want to talk about?
The only comic I recommend for folks this week is, and I figure we're just going to go with comic question of the week. I put, what was your favorite webcomic? So we'll probably retweet that this week and see what everyone says.
Oh, yeah, we'll do that
because
for next
obviously,
week,
Like,
yeah.
There's so many. One I just found out is called 2gag.com, 2gag. And basically what it's called is Two Guys and Guy. And the girl's name is Guy. And then there's two guys in the comic. So it's like, oh, okay, Two Guys and Guy. Like, that's the gimmick. Great series. It's all about like the main character is like ADHD, hypertension, has depression, has all these issues. The girl is very much like she punches everyone and kicks everyone. And then the friend of theirs is like possibly like an alien from another planet, because he does stuff like where all of a sudden it's like, it's like they have a surprise party and all of a sudden it's like surprise and light comes on and he's just like naked, covered in blood. And he's like, oh yeah, surprise. And then you're just like, what the hell? And then like the next comic, they don't touch base on it at all. But there's always like these little things that he does where it's like the best one was he made a good duplicate copy of the main character as a robot. And then he's like, oh, he does everything you do, but better. So it shows the guy like go like this, like, aw, like make a sad face. But then the robot is making an even better sad face. Like it was just like, the comedic on it is really good, and the art style is really good. It's a quick read too. Like you could probably blow through all of them in about like a day, because there's really not that many, and you can see how much the art style improved. So my pick is 2gag.com. Check it out. Obviously, you got the Konamis. Have you read the new ones? The ones that he had redone of the Major Tom Jr.
Yeah, I've started seeing those, and I was all like,
Well, it looks good though. Like
I love the artwork in it and stuff like that. Actually, I want to talk to TJ about it, because we were talking about it for. Well, no, it has nothing to do with it. Well, basically, what happened with the origin story to this was I listened to this song called Major Tom.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, TJ was all like, "Oh, you should do Major Tom Jr." So we started sketching out all this stuff. He was really like into it and stuff like that. And then I was coming up with like some scripts. So I do want to talk to him and be like, "Hey, I would love to write for it."
Yeah, like
again and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I love the Major Tom. I love Stranger
Danger,
Konami. So, but yeah, such.
And then his new one, I can't wait for that one. That's gonna be awesome.
As Matt and I call it, we're like Techno King.
Yeah, Techno King. Yeah, it's Tenko.
Tenko. Yeah, but we're like,
yeah,
I'm the king. But yeah, I can't wait for. Actually, I just tweeted him today because I was looking at some of his.
I love you.
Yeah, that wasn't like that.
Get off my lawn.
But he was like, he wants to get together because we wanted to do a podcast just where we talk about cartoons.
Yeah.
So it was supposed to be called Tune In. So we'll see how that goes.
Words.
But anything else we want to plug before we wrap this bad boy?
Me, the only thing I would recommend if you guys are a Superman fan and have not read it, I recommend Superman Birthright. It's a really good comic.
It's a horrible comic.
It's brilliant.
I read it.
Lovely.
I peed on it.
It's wonderful.
It's not even good enough to wipe my ass.
It's even better to wipe your ass with it after you read it.
Bizarro.
How about you, Steve? Any comics you would recommend to somebody right now?
I recommend.
I know The Preacher's coming to AMC too.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Awesome.
The Preacher's coming to
that,
AMC.
if you haven't read
So
that
that's
either.
going to be good. That's actually going to be what Seth? Is it Seth
Rogen?
Rogen? Yeah, which is kind of like he did.
Did some stuff.
He did the Green Hornet movie. So
yeah, well, he's going to be like producing and like helping with the writing and stuff.
No, I'm going to be in it.
The Preacher's going to have like some comedy aspects of it.
Yeah,
so be pretty neat how they do it.
I'm trying to think anything I can recommend right now. Actually, I should recommend this during the Halloween seasons, but if you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend Marvel Zombies.
Marvel Zombies is good.
Volume 1 is really good. I haven't seen Volume 2. I think Volume 3 is when they actually have Ash from Army of Darkness.
And they also have Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck
he
as
plays
well.
a predominant role.
But yeah, definitely check out Marvel Zombies. Actually, I'll probably read that again. I own the one copy I have of it. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So, you want to plug our Twitters?
Of course. Our Twitters, you can find us at LongBoxCast. You can find us here on the web at longboxcast.com. We're part of the 4-Eyed Radio Network, the Fern, the Mega Network. We got to bring that up because we've been tagged as having a Mega Network. So
again?
I'm going to throw that shit everywhere because that's right, bitches. You heard it here first. We had a comic book podcast first. We're the number one. Fuck you. Suck a dick and fuck you.
Wow.
That's how I'm going to sign out.
Is that our sign out now? Fuck you.
Suck
we
a
had
dick.
it first. Suck a dick. Flaccid penis.
Number one.
Up your balls. Mexicans.
Burritos.
You know, actually, I could go for some Mexican right now.
I could too, yeah. I was
Taco
kinda
Bell.
thinking about it.
Something's good. I'm gonna have to edit that.
Yeah, it should be like suck by the fern.
The fur.
Leave it in. It's good. Thanks, guys. You're listening to an all. Am I still?
Yeah.
Hey, yeah. So thank you for listening. This was another production by Four Eyed Radio Network. To listen to more shows by this amazing mega network, go to foureyedradio.com.
Suck a dick.
Suck a dick.
Suck a
First.
bitch.
We're first.
We're first. Actually,
Yes.
that new Taco Bell nacho.
I heard that thing, and the guy's like running from the thing. That sounds
What?
good. Like
No.
the commercial, he's like.
Oh, I haven't
running
seen the
away.
commercial. I just
Oh,
eaten
it
it.
looks
It's-
good.
It's good.
Let's go get it.
Yeah.